Think we're at the early stages of a bull run. We are not there yet. I would say the bull run starts somewhere at 100 to $200,000 per Bitcoin.
In this market analysis, Samson Moe is about to share his latest insights into the current state of the Bitcoin market. According to Samson, the true bull run will begin when Bitcoin reaches the $100,000 mark, marking a significant milestone for the cryptocurrency. While the market is currently experiencing a dip, Samson remains optimistic. He reassures his audience that his bold prediction stands firm, emphasizing his confidence in the long-term potential of the market. Let's dive in and hear more about what Samson has to say regarding the market.
The halving doesn't impact price directly. The halving impacts the production supply. And this is something that a lot of people get confused with. Your fiat value of your Bitcoin holdings will likely go up, but not as a direct impact of the halving itself. Halving, it just means that the supply that the miners produce per block is halved. So instead of 6.25 Bitcoin per Bitcoin block, they'll get 3.125. So what you see there is an increase in scarcity. The supply is decreasing. So you have less supply and you have much more demand from ETFs and other entities like MicroStrategy and Tether buying Bitcoin. So the supply and demand imbalance is what drives up the price.
What do you think is a fair price for Bitcoin, in next 5 years?
In 5 to 10 years, I don't think we'll be pricing Bitcoin in terms of other things. It'll just be things are priced in Bitcoin in terms of Satoshis, the smallest unit of Bitcoin. So when you buy a sandwich, it might cost you 5 Satoshis.
So do you think would it hit those kind of crazy prices, or do you?
Yeah, it's not, those prices are not crazy. So I also have a prediction for $1 million. Kathy Wood has a prediction now, I think, for $3.8 million. But if you look at the overall legacy financial system, these are not crazy numbers. So every day, the US is $10 billion more in debt. That's based off of a 1 trillion every 100 days metric. So $10 billion, you would think that's crazy, but everyone just kind of goes on with their lives.
Yeah.
So $1 million Bitcoin is not crazy when you compare that to $1 billion in debt a day. That's just astronomical, but people seem to be okay with it. So I don't know why you cannot be not okay with $1 million Bitcoin. Right? When there's price action, when there's more volatility, and especially expectations of a price run up, there's definitely more interest in Bitcoin adoption at the nation state level. But also the documentary has had an interesting effect, which is it's amplified some of our message. So a lot more people are reaching out to us saying, hey, we want to talk and see if we can get you a meeting with the head of state in this country or various places. And it's just ramping up. So I believe if Bitcoin does do its thing, which it should be doing very soon, running up to the hundreds of thousands of dollars to a million, then we should see a lot more interest on the nation state level. The obvious theory is that people recognize Bitcoin as a superior asset, and there's just not so much capital flowing into altcoins right now. The ETFs I view as a portal into money. So money can easily flow into the Bitcoin ETFs and by extension, Bitcoin itself through this method. So central banks can now buy Bitcoin or get Bitcoin exposure through those ETFs. You have pension funds now seeking exposure, but just more and more large institutional entities are funneling money into Bitcoin and not so much into altcoins. Even if you look at the Ethereum ETF, it's performing quite dismally compared to the Bitcoin ETFs. And we're seeing more companies copy the MicroStrategy playbooks, like Semler Scientific, Metaplanet in Japan, and I only see more and more coming because they have to come to the realization sooner or later that sitting on a vast reserve of cash or dollars is not doing them any favors, nor their shareholders. I would say it's probably a hedge right now, but there's also another play here, which is I don't know how to frame it. It's like micro-strategizing themselves. So growing a Bitcoin treasury so you can borrow more money to buy more Bitcoin, part of the game plan. But it's either one or the other. Either they're trying to hedge against the dollar, prevent losing money to dollar depreciation, or they want to grow and try to out MicroStrategy.
There's a saying in Bitcoin, Don't sell your coins. It's going to be very hard to buy them back later. As we approach 2025, this advice has never been more important. Bitcoin's supply is fixed, meaning there's only so much to go around. This creates a growing supply squeeze. At the same time, major players are getting involved. Billionaires, corporations, Wall Street, and even governments. They're not just watching anymore, they're buying. So when you're trying to buy Bitcoin, these are the big players you're competing with. What does this mean for the future? Someday soon, owning just 0.1 Bitcoin could be incredibly rare. Its most special feature is its fixed supply. No matter how much money or computing power is used, only 21 million Bitcoins will ever exist. This makes Bitcoin different from any other asset. Its supply can't grow, but global demand keeps increasing. Out of the 21 million Bitcoins, about 4 million are already lost forever, leaving only 17 million for the world. For perspective, California alone has 40 million people, and there are 60 million millionaires worldwide. Almost 94% of all Bitcoin has already been mined, with the remaining 6% being slowly released over the next 100 years. As Bitcoin becomes scarcer and demand rises, it will only get harder and more expensive to buy. Many current holders refuse to sell because they know how hard it would be to buy back later. This behavior shrinks the available supply even more, driving prices higher. Right now, most people don't realize how revolutionary Bitcoin is. But every year, more people learn its value, and its price reflects that growing understanding. Over time, this could lead to the largest transfer of wealth in history. Bitcoin follows a predictable 4-year cycle driven by halving events, where the number of new coins created is cut in half. In April 2024, the daily supply dropped from 900 new Bitcoins to just 450. These events tighten the supply and often lead to price surges about 6 months later as demand grows. Today, governments, corporations, and billionaires are adding Bitcoin to their reserves. The fear of missing out on such a scarce and valuable asset is driving demand through the roof. With a fixed supply, rising demand will only increase Bitcoin's value. So hold on to your Bitcoin, secure your keys, and prepare for what's ahead. Peace.